Major support for Compass is provided by the ongoing support of the Leo P. Flynn Estate of Millbank, South Dakota. Additional support is provided by the Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council, promoting Southwest Minnesota as a place rich with opportunity. Come for the jobs, stay for the lifestyle. More information at swmnpic.org.
Hello and welcome to Compass, a production of Pioneer Public Television. I'm Les Heen, your host for Compass. It's a weekly discussion of public policy and important issues facing our viewing area. This week, we'll talk about how road improvements are affecting our region. We'll have folks from the Minnesota Department of Transportation, and they can help tell us what communities can do to have a say in road improvement projects, and also what goes into rural road construction. But first, Pioneer's Laura K. Prosser traveled to the towns of Clara City and Raymond, Minnesota, and she's got the story of how some improvements are there for one of the busiest roads in the region, Minnesota State Highway 23. Here's Laura's report.
Road construction can be a hot-button topic for some people. They see a detour sign and see red. But it's a necessary evil, as the towns of Clara City and Raymond recently discovered with the new Highway 23 bypass going in. I'm talking with Alan Setrum, a MnDOT representative, to get the full story of how detours and road construction can impact rural towns. We're here in Clara City in a construction trailer talking a little bit about Highway 23. Now, before we started, you told me that this was a unique project. Why is it such a unique project?
This is a corridor commerce project that was put forward by the legislators. There was a list of, I believe, 100 projects that were identified across the state. Highway 23 and then Highway 14, US Highway 14 were two of the major ones that were identified to increase freight traffic. Okay. And that's where this is kind of come in. Now,
specific to Highway 23 corridor, what is the purpose of these bypass lanes?
So they identified different areas, and these areas between Wilmer and Pipestone were identified to put in 10 different passing lanes. What we've done is we've taken off the old shoulder, and then we built the complete grade underneath to withstand 80 to 90,000 pound traffic.
So what kind of impact have these towns had with these detours and construction going on all summer?
This was a little more unique, because what we did back in November when we were finishing the design phases of it, we went and actually had public meetings in both Clara City and Raymond, met with the residents and the business owners, showed them a three layout that we could do. We could do a full detour, which would have taken traffic around both towns for the entire summer. Staged the construction, which was what we ended up going with. Or the third option was to put barricades up along the edge of the construction zone, and it would have cost about an additional $900,000 to do. So we went, like I said, to each town. We took comments back. We spent about a week analyzing everything, and that's where we decided, working with the residents, that we would go with the stage construction. And then we finished the design and sent it out.
Why is open communication lines with towns and communities like this so important?
Well, a lot of times, unfortunately, because of the way things kind of work, we just go in, put the signs up, and close the road down and don't give a lot of information beyond that. We've really made an effort in the last year to change that philosophy. I personally try and go out and meet with all the residents and business people that are right on the highways, give them my business card, and encourage them to even use my cell phone.
When you do that, what kind of responses, questions, concerns do you get from businesses of small towns worried about detours not, going past their towns for business?
Raymond, for example, the detours on County Road 7. So they can see the business ahead of them, but they have the barricades right in front of them. Unfortunately, we can't put full-blown business signs up for them, but we try to work with them as much as we can. And then, like I said, we take phone calls 24 hours a day if we have to get businesses, people to them and residents home and that kind of stuff. So.
With this particular project, did you see a lot of backlash from businesses, or did you hear about any struggling to stay open because of this construction?
No, and I think uniquely because we went out ahead of time and spent a lot of time trying to coordinate with everybody ahead of time, so they knew going into it, you know, like A. Paul's and Timpson Marine, and even the subway here in Clare City, we had conversations with them, you know, through the project.
Well, that's wonderful, but what kind of funding issues or anything like that have you had?
Right now, like, this funding was a special funding, Corridor of Commerce money that's doesn't have any federal money on it. It's just all state funding through here. The governor felt like this was a necessary thing to get done, and we actually started the process about 1.5 years ago. And normally it takes 4 to 5 years to go from what we call cradle to grave on a design to build. We are going to resurface between Clare City and Willmar. We were kind of hoping maybe to get it done this fall, but we're not. So moving from Willmar to Pipestone, they shouldn't see another project until the spring, and that'll be done under traffic. So we won't affect traffic other than, you know, a lane closure for 10 minutes at a time.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Alan.
And that's it for us on Highway 23. I'm Pioneer's Laura K. Prosser. Back to Les in the studio.